Hi, I'm Chris Daughtry.
Um, so right now we're here at Golden Apples,
Yep.
and you're doing something special today.
Yeah, I'm doing a signing for my first cover for Batman number 50 variant cover. Yeah,
So it
pretty
has to be
pretty
kind of
surreal.
cool. It's kind of cool, right? Having to get to do a
It's
Batman
more
cover.
than cool. I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and this is probably one of my most proudest moments. That's correct grammar. My most proudest moments. It's a moment that I'm most proud of.
So how did this come about?
Um, I, Jim has kind of become a mentor over the past few years. Also a friend, and I send him sketches every now and then, and he'll just unsolicitedly send corrections back and be like, "Hey, think about this. Think about your vanishing points." Things that someone who doesn't do it professionally on a daily basis doesn't really think of. So he's helped me a lot in that way, and we've talked about doing variant covers before, and he finally approached me to do this at his Halloween party last year, and said, "Would you be interested in doing a variant cover for in promotion of Batman v Superman? We're going to do a bunch of covers for each title." And at the time, I didn't know um, what title that would be, and I was like, "Absolutely, let me know." He goes, "Okay, you'll find out, before the holidays, and you'll have plenty of time on this, right?" And I was like, "Well, just so you know, I'm way slower than you, so plenty of time for you may not be the same plenty of time for me." He goes, "You'll be fine." So months go by, I haven't heard anything, and I finally like, "Dude, am I doing this cover or not? I want to kind of get a head start on the layout and everything." And so I started doing it regardless. And I finally get an email from Eddie, his assistant, saying, this is what you're doing. Here's the deadline." And it was like in 2 weeks, which that doesn't sound like a long time to someone like Jim Lee, but for me, I'm like, I'm recording during the day. I'm writing and recording for a new album and all this other stuff, and then drawing at night till like 2, 3 in the morning. I made the deadline by like 2 hours, um, and I hauled ass to DC and dropped it off. And I'm expecting like balloons and like, "Woo, you did it!" And he's like, "Jim's in a meeting. Just lay it on the table." And I, mind you, this is the same dude that's been seeing it through every bad line step of the way, and up till its final form. So he's already seen it. But um, so I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." You got all these images in your head of what you think is going to happen when you do your first cover, and everybody's going to be like blowing you up at the office, like, "What, my boy Chris?" And it was nothing like that. But when I got the inks back from Jim, that was a crazy moment, because he took my background and changed it completely. I had this silhouette skyline behind it, and he decided to pull a Man of Steel and demolish all my buildings and make it more of an environment, because he felt like the distance between suits and the building would have required them to not be silhouetted and all this. So he made it more of an environment, which first of all, you don't say no to Jim. Second of all, I like it way better. And Alex, of course, he's been coloring my work for a couple years now via introduction from Jim, and so it's kind of this crazy combination of that I never expected. Like, first of all, they gave me the title, and I wasn't expecting that, because I saw Jim's name on it, and he was going to be doing it, and I thought it was a mistake, but he ended up doing something else and gave me the title book. So there was a lot of pressure. The fact that Jim's inking it, I don't want him to be inking some crap work, and I was doing all kinds of photo reference and posing in the mirror. He would correct my poses and change the eye line a bit, and And so it was a long process, but I could die now and not do another comic book cover. And I'm super stoked at what I did. But hopefully there'll be more. I'm hoping there's more.
So what was going through your mind while you were inking?
I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, that's fine. So what was going through your mind the whole time you were getting to ink it, that you were actually releasing a comic book?
Well, that I penciled it. I didn't ink it.
Sorry.
I was at first I thought I was going to pencil and ink it. That was what Jim had told me originally. And I inked digitally, so I was okay with that, but when Eddie said, oh, no, Jim's inking it, I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah, because there was no way I was going to finish it in time. So yeah, what was going
through your mind getting to do this?
The fact that it's the title, it's the character that I've loved since I was 4 years old. It's my first cover, so I can't be delivering some half-ass work. So I was doing a lot of studying and trying to level up between my last piece that I did and now, because I was challenging myself with poses and situations that I wasn't comfortable with, and that's always because I don't draw every single day for 8 hours a day like someone like Jim or Capullo, that it takes me a while to figure out forms and the proper perspective and things like that. And I'm getting better at that via Jim. He's helped me so much. And so there was just that desire to want to live up to the people that are my influences, but also in that arena as peers. And I want to at least feel like I held my own, knowing good and damn well that I'm not even close to their level. But I wanted it to stand out.
So for you, talking back to what you said, how was it managing working on your album and working on this?
I mean, first of all, I'm one of those people that if I have a deadline, it's gonna get done. If you give me free time and say, oh, don't worry about it, you got plenty of time, shit ain't ever getting done. So when someone gives me a deadline, I'm full force. Work ethic is off the charts. I don't stop. I don't get a lot of sleep. I eat just enough to not die, and I keep working. So I would be writing during the day, maybe tracking vocals or headed back to track vocals at night, and then get to the drawing board within a couple hours, at least a couple hours that day, or I would stay up until I felt like I was at a good stopping point. So there was a lot of pressure and that I put on myself. Jim was like, oh, just have fun with it. And I'm like, I'm stressed. I'm texting him at 2 a.m. Does this look right? Does this look right? And he goes, it doesn't look any different than the last thing you sent me. That doesn't answer my question. He's so cryptic. But it forced me to really kind of make my own decisions and choices. And if it was wrong, he would suggest something. But yeah, it was a lot of pressure that I put on myself, because I want everything I do to be the best I can do. Yeah.
So how did this experience help you if you ever do one more?
Oh, I know where to start. Where before I was just like, oh, this is the first pose that I could come up with, and here you go. So like, he kind of made me think a lot about what you're seeing first and where your eye is drawn to and things like that, and the certain perspective that makes it interesting and gives it energy. So yeah, I learned a lot. So I think the next cover will probably take 2 weeks total, as opposed to a month of planning, then 2 weeks to draw it, We'll see.
And last question. So, other than Batman, what other comic book heroes do you enjoy?
I've always been more of a DC guy in general, so all the core Justice League members. I've always had an interest in Firestorm. Um, and as far as Marvel is concerned, I've been a comic book fan in general all my life. So, like, if there's a comic movie, I'm going to see it, regardless if I know the source material or not. But DC has always been like my I got into comics with the superpowers and the super friends and the little action figures, and it kind of never really became a phase as much as an obsession that lingered on to my adulthood. And so I would love to tackle a Justice League cover. That would be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.